Good afternoon to each and everyone. This afternoon we are going to discuss the procurement and liquidation procedures. Now, on the first place, we are going to define what is procurement. Procurement refers to the acquisition of goods, consulting services, and the contracting for infrastructure projects by the procuring entity. In case of projects involving mixed procurements, the nature of the procurements, goods and infrastructure projects or consulting services shall be determined based on the primary purpose of the contract. Procurement shall be also include the list of goods and real estate. With respect to the real property, its procurement shall governed by the provision of RE 10752 and other applicable laws, rules, and regulations. And we have the alternative methods of procurement. The first alternative method of procurement is direct contracting, other known as selective bidding. Is a method of procurement of goods and consulting services that involves direct invitation to bid by the procuring entity from the list of pre-selected suppliers or consultants with known experience and proven capability on the required of the particular contract. We have the limited source of bidding. Alternative method of procurement may be employed under any of the following conditions. Procurement of highly specialized types of goods, sophisticated defense equipment, complex air navigation system, and cool and consulting services where only few suppliers or consultants are known to be available, such that resorting to the competitive bidding method will not likely result in any additional suppliers or consultants participating in the bidding. Or procurement of major plants components where it is deemed advantageous to limit the bidding to non-qualified bidders in order to maintain uniform quality and performance of the plant as a whole. We have direct contracting or single procurement is a method of procurement of goods that does not require elaborate bidding documents. The supplier is simply asked to submit a price quotation or a forma invoice together with the conditions of sale. The offer may be accepted immediately or after some negotiations. Direct contracting may be resorted to by concerned procuring entities under any of the following conditions. Procurement of goods of proprietary nature which can be obtained only from proprietary source when patents or trade secrets and copyrights prohibit others from manufacturing the same item. We have number two, when the procurement of critical components from a specific supplier is a condition precedent to hold a contractor to guarantee its project performance in accordance with the provision of the contract. Or those sold by an exclusive dealer or manufacturer which does not have sub-dealers selling at lower prices and for which no suitable substitute can be obtained at more advantageous term of the government procuring entity. We have repeat order. This alternative method of procurement, when provided for in the annual procurement plan, is a method of procurement of goods from the previous winning bidder whenever there is a need to replenish goods procured under a contract previously awarded through competitive bidding. Repeat order shall be likewise be subject to the following conditions. Unit prices of repeat order must be the same as or lower than those in the original contract, provided that such prices as are still the most advantageous to the government after price verification. The repeat order will not result in splitting of contracts, requisitions, or purchase orders as provided for in the section 54.1 of this IRR in Republic Act 9184, except in cases duly approved by the GPPB The repeat order shall be availed of only within 6 months from the date of the notice to proceed arising from the original contract, provided that there has been a partial delivery inspection and acceptance of the goods within the same 6 months period, and repeat order shall not be exceed 25% of the quantity of each item in the original contract, in order not to exceed the 25% threshold. The goods under original contract must be quantifiable, divisible, consisting of at least 4 units per item. And now, we have the shopping. Shopping is a method of procurement of goods whereby the procuring entity simply requests for the submission of price quotations for readily available off-the-shelf goods or ordinary or regular equipment to be procured directly from suppliers of known qualification. This method of procurement shall be employed in any of the following cases. This is commonly used in our schools since our budget or the allocated budget of the school in OE, especially most of our schools, uh, do not exceed the 50,000 minimum requirement. So this is a procurement alternative shopping that is commonly used in our school. We have when there is no unforeseen contingency requiring immediate purchase, provided, however, that the amount shall not exceed threshold prescribed in Annex H of this IRR. Procurement of ordinary or regular office supplies and equipment not available in the procurement services involving an amount not exceeding the threshold prescribed in Annex H of this IRR. So the required is 50,000. We have negotiated procurement. A method of procurement of goods, infrastructure projects, and consulting services whereby procuring entity directly negotiates a contract with technically, legally, and financially capable supplier, contractor, or consultant in any of the following cases. We have two failed biddings. When there has been failure to competitive bidding or limited source of bidding of the second time as provided in Section 35 of this Republic Act 9184. Emergency cases. In case of imminent danger to life or property during state of calamity or when time is of the essence of arising from natural or man-made calamities or other causes where immediate action is necessary to prevent damage to or loss of life or property or to restore public by restore vital public. In case of emergency, in case of imminent danger to life or property during a state of calamity or when a time is of the essence of arising from natural or man-made calamities or other causes where immediate action is necessary to prevent damage or loss of lives or property or to restore vital public services, infrastructure facilities, and other public utilities. In the case of infrastructure projects, the procuring entity has the option to undertake the project through negotiated procurement or by the administration or high security risk through the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Takeover of contracts. Takeover of contracts which have been rescinded or terminated for causes provided for in the contract and existing laws, where immediate action is necessary to prevent damage to loss or life property or to restore vital public services, infrastructure facilities, and other utilities. We have adjacent or contagious, where the subject contract is adjacent or contagious to an ongoing infrastructure project on consulting services where the consultant have unique experience and expertise to deliver the required service, provided, however, that the original contract is the result of a competitive bidding. The subject contract to be negotiated has familiar or related scope of work. It is within the contracting capacity of the contractor or consultant. The contractor consultant uses the same prices of a lower unit prices as in the original contract, less mobilization cost. The amount of contagious or adjacent work involved does not exceed the amount of the ongoing project. The contractor or consultant has no negative slippage, delay, provided further that the negotiation for the procurement of the contagious or adjacent work are commenced before the expiry of the original contract. Now, we have the persons involved in procurement. We have the bids and award committee. Each procuring entity shall establish in its head office as a single back to undertake the functions specified in Section 12 of this IRR in RA 9184 in order to facilitate the professionalization and harmonization of procedures and standards in line with the standardization of procurement procedure and the thrust towards strengthening the procurement function to increase operational efficiency and effectiveness. We have the Bids and Awards Committee. Heads of procuring shall aim to consolidate all the unified all procurement activities of the organization, whether locally funded or foreign assisted, and whether pertaining to goods, infrastructure projects, or consulting services. Now, here are the composition of the BAC. Composition of the BAC is 5 to 7 members. And function of the BAC. The box shall have the following functions: advertise or post invitation to bid, request for expressions of interest, conduct pre-procurement and pre-bid conferences, determine the eligibility of prospective bidders, receive and open bids, conduct the evaluation of bids, undertake post-qualification proceedings, resolve for request reconsideration, recommend award of contracts to the hope of his duly authorized representative. Recommend the imposition of sanctions in accordance with this rule. Recommend to the hope the use of alternative methods of procurement as provided in Rule number 16 hereof. Conduct any of the alternative methods of procurement. Conduct periodic assessment of the procurement process and procedure to streamline procurement activities pursuant to this section. To perform such other related functions as may necessary include the creation of technical working group. So we have the involved or the persons involved in the bids and awards committee. We have the back chairman, we have the back member, and we have also the hook or the head of procuring entity. Now, let us proceed to the liquidation process and procedure on documents. So, here is now the liquidation procedure and together with its documents. Before the procurement, and according to these guidelines, no procurement shall be made without uh, in in the annual procurement plan or the SIP. So all items that we are going to procure should be reflected in the EIP. So now we have the purchase request. All items that we are going to procure, we have now the purchase request. So we are going to list all the items to be procured in the purchase request. And then we have the certificate of canvas and request for quotation. Now, we are going to send the members of the BAC or any of the technical working groups in the BAC, and especially the canvasser, will go to canvas and send for request for quotation on the three qualified suppliers. So, purchase request, certificate of canvas, and request for quotation. Now, next we have, after the certificate of canvas and request for quotation being canvassed by three illegitimate suppliers, after that, the BAC will convene and we have to accomplish the abstract of bid. So, the BAC now convene on which of the three suppliers having the lowest price, or and then after that the bids and award resolution will be issued by the bank to which suppliers or to which suppliers will be go to procurement. And after that, we have the payments. We have the disbursement voucher, the purchase order. So in the disbursement voucher, the supplier, the qualified suppliers will be paid. Then we have the purchase order. And this purchase orders, the list of items or equipments to be procured. Next, we have after paying. Now, here comes now the inspection and acceptance report. The school inspectorate team will inspect all the items procured. We have the inspection officer together with the school property custodian. We are going to inspect all of the items. And after that, the school property custodian will issue the items and equipments being requested by the end user. And we have, if the equipment is above 15,000, the property custodian will issue property acknowledgement receipt. And next, we have the RNSI, the reports on materials and supplies issued. This is to be accomplished by the school property custodian. And we have the CDR. This is the summary. In this CDR, uh, in this document, we can see here what the cash amount flew or where the money goes on a certain supplier. So these are the summary or what kind of category or supplies we are procuring. We have the school supplies, other supplies and material, electricity expenses, repair and school maintenance, the general services. So we can see here the summary of payments. And then we have the liquidation report. So this liquidation report, this is the information of how much money or how much fund will spend it during the procurement. Or we can see here the amount allocation intended for the month, especially for the MOOE or other local source of fund. So these are the procurement and liquidation procedure.